Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for One Piece anime episodes 846 and 847. Now I know I said this would be up Sunday, the day after the last video, but I just wasn't really feeling well enough to record on Sunday, so sorry, pushed this a day back. But either way, I took the notes and did everything for a couple videos yesterday. That's what I did, but yeah, I really want to talk about these two. I really enjoyed these two. It felt like, I don't know, I guess progress-wise, you look at where we were at the beginning and look at where we are at the end, and it's not like they went a long way, but I don't know, I guess I'm used to that with One Piece, and for what I'm used to with One Piece, I really legitimately had fun watching both of these, especially 847. 847 was really good, and I'm excited to get again into things that I know are coming for future episodes, but still. I had said at the end of the last video I saw in the episode promo it looked like we were getting some in-canon filler kind of fights, and that's really what carried these two episodes. That and something else, but I'll get into that when I talk about 847. Let's start by talking about 846. Starting with the recap was actually long once again for the third time in a row, but it wasn't bad. It was definitely a lot better of a recap sequence than the past two episodes, because I was watching it, and some recaps for One Piece are like pretty good. You're like, okay, that didn't bore me at all. It wasn't like, oh, I've just watched this, like, oh, I've just watched this, or anything like that. Sometimes you watch them and I guess I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes they're like a chore to sit through. And then other times they kind of fit with the episode well, and you don't even really notice them that much, even though it was kind of long. And honestly, if it wasn't for me talking about the recap for each episode in the reviews, then I probably wouldn't have even I would have noticed, but I probably wouldn't have even noticed how long it was. I would have still noticed enough to say, this recap was definitely not a chore to sit through. But either way, we start off with this sequence of the burning forest, and it's really eerie and creepy, and I actually really like the starting sequence. But the Straw Hats fight through the forest, just punching trees and stuff. I liked that. Each character got a little bit of time to shine. Brook and Chopper finally make it to the river, and it's covered in cream from the collapse of the Whole Cake Chateau. So again, I think that's really cool. That's a bit of continuity there, and it makes sense that it would be. But Chopper ends up clearing it all out. Luffy attacking Prometheus was really cool, but of course it doesn't work because he's just a big mass of flames. But Jinbei is able to hold him off by throwing some water at him using the Fishman Karate. Because of course he is, again, a big ball of flames. So some of Big Mom's children ambush the Straw Hats from ahead, and that's really good. We do see in the Shark Submerge, we see Brook and Chopper, and we get our hints at Chopper seeing a mermaid, and we see the slugs moving, so that's a really cool hint for something. I'm not sure how far into the future it is, but I think it's a decent bit into the future, but that's a cool hint already this early on. I like the remix of what they did, because the Big Mom children attacking them as they're trying to flee, that totally happened, but they remixed it more into some like one-on-one fights really quick, and I loved that. Just like I loved the 3 fights that Luffy had in a row, where it was like Cadenza and those 2 other siblings other than Apra, where he had those 3 fights in a row, and all of them were really cool, and they were just short little fights. They were animated pretty well, especially the third one was animated well, and I really liked them. And I like this again. I like when we get these little in-canon filler fights. The ones with the Vinsmokes just a couple episodes ago were really good. So I love the way they remixed that. There was one scene, though, I definitely remember, because I put it in my notes to mention it, but there was this one shot of Sanji, or maybe it was 2 shots of him right back to back, but I was like, why are Sanji's arms so long? Because there was like one shot, at least, where we look at Sanji from a certain angle, and his arms look like super long. So that was one just weird animation thing. But then Carrot goes to say, I'm going to jump up and look at where the ship is, which is really cool and a good progression for her character and all. But she gets blocked by the trees of the forest and stuff, and it made me think, what, and like she's like slowly trying to jump her way up and stuff, but I'm just thinking, what happened to Carrot from Zoe when she was first introduced and jumped like mega high up into the sky with just one bound and could see where like everything around was? It's like, what happened to that power? So yeah, that was weird, but Pedro ends up doing it himself, so he serves as the lookout. But either way, I love Pedro and Carrot's story. I think it's super, super underrated throughout Whole Cake. I love the story of the two of them, and it's cool that he's serving as that, and it's another inherited will type thing. But either way, Big Mom and Prometheus attack once again, and it was really, really cool. But Nami is able to counter with the Zeus Breeze tempo, which looked great. I loved it from the manga, and it's good because it gives Nami something to do. It makes Nami OP, and I said it last video, I think, where Brooke is definitely the MVP of this arc. I mean, come on, Brooke is just so freaking cool this arc. I already liked the character, but Whole Cake made Brooke one of my favorite, if not my favorite characters in the entirety of One Piece. But Nami had a lot of good moments in Whole Cake, and this was one of them. So yeah, for the episode, I love the way they remixed that stuff into those single fights, and they were all really fun. There was a lot of fun action that we just jumped around. There was always something happening, and I like that a bunch of the different characters all got a little bit of time. So all of that was great. In the long run, there wasn't too much progression. So, I mean, I can't say that it was like this amazing thing as far as anime episodes in general go. But as far as One Piece goes, I had a ton of fun watching it. And I'd actually give it 7.5 OP Nami moments out of 10. And now we get to talk about 847, which I liked even more. I liked 847 a lot. So we start off with the recap. It's not as short as it was a little earlier in the arc, but it's not as long as it was for the past 3 episodes. It was shorter, it wasn't bad, and we start off with Brook and Chopper finally making it to the Sunny and the shark submerge. I hope I didn't get that wrong earlier in the video. I might have accidentally said the Sunny when I meant the shark submerge, but either way, they finally make it to the actual Sunny, where Perospero and Katakuri are waiting with a bunch of soldiers. They all get shaken by the Zeus Breeze tempo, and they assume it was Big Mom. Chopper and Brook saying, I'm sure they'll still be fine. Luffy and them are always fine. They always make it out of these situations. And Perospero assuming, yeah, Big Mom just blasted them away. Which is logical since it was an attack from Zeus. But Katakuri, of course, being cool and collected and having prescience, may have already known the outcome of all that, or what happened with all of that. Perospero then offers to let Brook and Chopper escape. They can leave. He doesn't care about capturing them or anything. But they say no, they're going to fight, and they start taking on some soldiers. And one thing I wanted to talk about that I put in my notes, that it reminded me of something that I've done a lot of One Piece anime reviews. I've probably said it at some point, but I wanted to say it again here. I have always hated Kung Fu Point. I think it's probably one of Chopper's least interesting transformations. In addition, it's probably his ugliest transformation. I don't think he has a transformation less visually appealing than Kung Fu Point. But in addition to that, I think the biggest reason I don't like it is because he uses it all the time. Every time he gets into any fight at all, that's all we see. We just see Kung Fu Point. And basically any situation, all we see is Kung Fu Point other than his base form. He never uses Heavy Point, and Heavy Point was awesome to begin with, and I really like the post-time skip version. He never uses his I guess his normal form, his like reindeer form. What was that Speed Point before? I'm not sure. But he never uses his like base form, I guess his base form is a small form, but you know what I mean. He never uses his reindeer form, which looks badass. He should be in that form like way more often because he looks so cool in that form. And I really love the way the new Horn Point looks. The old Horn Point was amazing, but the new one is really cool too, and he's never in that one. He's never in probably his coolest current form. He doesn't hit Monster Point super often because story-wise that makes sense. But even then, Monster Point, it's about the same. I guess it's less cool than when he was like legit a friggin' monster. But But yeah, it's like he sacrificed two really awesome transformations with arm point and leg point, or I think maybe jump point may have been what he called it. But he sacrificed two really cool transformations for one transformation that both isn't cool and doesn't seem quite as useful as either. So yeah, I really cannot stand Kung Fu Point, and I think the reason I can't stand it, I think if he barely used it, or if he used all of his transformations equally, I don't think I would like it, but I probably wouldn't care about it. But it's the fact that it's basically the only transformation that Chopper ever uses. Like, Chopper never really gets into fights, and when he does get into fights, he just uses the same thing. So yeah, I've always hated Kung Fu Point. I just wish he would fight more in Heavy Point or Horn Point, anything. But either way, we learned that Big Mom survived that blast because, of course she did, she's Big Mom. Brooke then, fighting the soldiers. Brooke is so fucking cool. Brooke is just the coolest. Brooke is such a good character. The skeleton playing the riff on the guitar while controlling the spirit thing behind him, it's all so freaking cool. Chopper then just gets jobbed out. This guy comes, knocks him into a wall. We cut away from that to Chiffon go... did we cut away from that yet? I don't think we do. I think they continue the fight. Chopper eventually gets back in it and is able to defeat the guy with the assist from Brooke, who does... I guess most of the work. Brooke could have probably finished him off, but he lets Chopper finish him off. But yeah, either way, we go on from that to Chiffon deciding to go with Pudding. She's going to repay her debt for saving Lola, even if it costs her her life. And Chiffon, I've mentioned it before, and I've of course said it in the manga videos, is so cool. From her design, you would think Lola is just or Chiffon, I call her Lola. You would think Chiffon is super lame, but I really, really love Chiffon as a character. I thought she was awesome through this arc. So yeah, Chiffon is a very, very cool character. We have Pudding in her dere mode, where I guess I wouldn't call her tsundere. I guess maybe. She's also not yandere, because she's not like crazy protective of the guy. She's like crazy wanting to murder him, but also crazy in love with him and wanting to protect him at the same time, and very bipolar between the two. And I love this version of Pudding. The Straw Hats keep cutting her off. That was funny. But I love this version of Pudding. I thought that I really didn't like Pudding in the beginning in the manga. I was like, oh, I really don't want Sanji to fall in love with this girl. Then when she was evil, I felt vindicated. But then I was like, I don't want her to turn good and work with them. I don't like that. But then this version of Pudding in the manga turned me around on things, and I loved this version of the character. So yeah, I love this version of Pudding. She's so entertaining. And the anime did make her seem more tsundere, where she's more like, I'm not here to save you, stupid. So it did make her seem a bit more tsundere in the anime. But either way, I love that. And I think, no, it's not the end yet. We have another Eco Sovereignty, but I'm pretty sure Big Mom just says Ekok when she uses it, so I'm not sure where the sovereignty part of the attack actually comes from. Because I noticed that before, and I noticed it again this episode. She just says Ekok, but the subs are Ekok Sovereignty. So I'm not sure where that second part of the attack name comes from. But either way, Sanji decides to go with Pudding and Chiffon, and that's where we end it. So I thought this episode was incredibly fun, like I said at the beginning. Like, I legitimately loved watching it. I thought the little fights they had were so cool. Again, it was non-stop action, jumping from thing to thing. And in addition to the action and the fights, Pudding was so funny. I really love this version of Pudding. So it was just an incredibly fun episode. And as a score, I'd give it 8.25 dere puddings out of 10. Pudding. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I loved this. This episode, and I really enjoyed 846 as well. But I'm excited to get into more kind of plot-heavy stuff, more important stuff coming in the future. So yeah, we're gonna be one episode away from 850 when I do next weekends, or rather this coming weekends. So yeah, I'm really excited to continue on with this review series for this. And I guess if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of these 2 episodes, what you thought of my thoughts, my review, and all that. Subscribe for more, both anime and manga for One Piece, plus tons of other things on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And I can talk to you there if you want, or if you want to talk to me or more of us on the Discord server about One Piece or anything else, just ask and I can give you a link. It's free and open for anyone. So that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.